What is up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news from the industry. I'm Drew Beausoleil. You can find me on Twitter at ArtisticGamer28, and that is Scott Savage. You can find him on Twitter at Savage. Scott, should we try this again? What's happening, buddy?
Yeah, it looks like we've gotten over our technical difficulties. I'm ready to get into another jam-packed episode.
Man, it amazes me how much stuff we always have to seem to talk about. I'm not complaining by any means. It makes our job a heck of a lot easier. We definitely have an awesome show. Don't forget, you can also get Inside the Game. Our weekly show covers an hour-long worth of video game content where we give you the latest in reviews, news, and other topics from the gaming space as well. But this is ITG Daily, where today we're talking about Microsoft teaming up with Nintendo. Could Xbox make a handheld? And Days Gone 2 might not be canceled after all. Let's kick it off as Microsoft is talking about final steps to end Xbox Live Gold requirement for the free-to-play market. Man, this is nice to see. It's been a long time coming. Microsoft is in the final stages of ending the requirement of having Xbox Live Gold to free-to-play games on consoles like Xbox Series X and S. Last night, Microsoft started rolling out an update to Xbox Omega Insiders that removes the requirement for Xbox Live Gold. Scott, this is a bit of a shock to me that at this point that this still exists. It's nice to see they're working on it, but dude, like how long we've been playing for gold for free-to-play games where on other services, doesn't matter. You want to play free-to-play over on Steam? Go ahead. PlayStation? Absolutely. Xbox finally catching up.
Yeah, it has been a while. I suppose it's adding pressure from a lot of the Battle Royale games that have come out.
Sure.
And Fortnite being probably the largest. Now they really have had to readjust their attitude towards the free-to-play games because it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We already pay for the internet coming in through the wall. You know,
sure. Yep.
If it's a free-to-play game, then why is Xbox kind of gatekeeping that? So they're modernizing and responding in tune. And so this is a welcome change.
No, it's been long overdue, I think. It's nice to see it's coming. You can check your settings. They haven't stated when it's coming to all users, but just for Omega Insiders, that just seemed to be a new update that rolled out. So it's definitely in the works. And I would expect it to see probably sometime really soon. But again, like how many times did we talk about it? We don't even think about it because our Xbox Gold just kind of keeps renewing. Or if you get the Ultimate Game Pass, you know, everything's all included and you get one package deal kind of thing.
Yeah, it is not such a big deal for us that are always on. But there are a lot of players that are much more casual. And
absolutely.
They really don't need to spend the money now in this case.
No, for sure. Scott, what are your thoughts on imagining an Xbox gaming handheld console to compete with Nintendo? Jez Corden over at Windows Central posted a little opinion piece. Kind of thought it may, like, man, it sparked some interest in the possibilities. I don't know, but they tend to think that this is an actual thing that could possibly happen. While industry-leading video game consoles remain a big part of Xbox's toolkit, future growth will rely on new markets. With Xbox Game Pass as a vehicle, Microsoft can grow its gaming aspirations beyond the slim margins of the home console, expanding across PC and critically into our pockets via cloud-based delivery on Android and iOS. So there's definitely some possibilities here, but they went on to specify details of a possible handheld unit that would compete with Nintendo Switch. What are your thoughts on the possibility of that even happening, Scott?
Well, I think this is a lot of speculation. I don't
Absolutely.
believe anything has been uncovered for real.
Nope.
And I would seriously doubt Xbox is going to confirm or deny anything at this point. I've joked about it several times, though. Is this the handheld, the Xbox 180, you know, and what would that kind of look like? I've certainly speculated that this is a bit of a natural progression. The xCloud is a service that I'm sure they're wanting to utilize more and more. And as all of us have phones in our pockets, then it's has a good chance of being very popular. But if we're already running xCloud on our phones, are we going to need a new console? You know, is that really hardware that Xbox can sell us.
Sure.
I have a lot of questions still that I would need answers to before I really would believe that something is coming down the pipe imminently.
No, absolutely. Well, they have, so obviously they partner with Android. They're working on bringing xCloud to that service, that platform itself, and you're able to connect your phone with the Xbox controllers via Bluetooth, right? So that's already a thing. That works. I've connected it to my iPad. I actually can play and stream games that way to my Xbox, from my Xbox through the cloud service. So either way, I'm able to tap into the Xbox ecosystem. Would they dedicate an actual handheld unit, though, that could undercut the Nintendo Switch, because it wouldn't need to be all that kind of hardware when you can just beam it down through a Wi-Fi service and use the cloud as a means of connecting to these games, right? You see Google Stadia do something similar in this vein. Could Xbox do something as well? But instead of providing you a service that connects to your TV and everywhere else, we already have that with the cloud. So what if you tap that into an actual handheld unit similar to the Switch? But I don't think you require all the hardware that goes into it because of the streaming platform. You can stream it right now, Scott, on anything you have. So like that just kind of opens up opportunities. And that's kind of what I read within the article, is that the possibility is absolutely there. Do they want to invest the time and money into it, though, is the big question.
Yeah, or is this going to be, it's somewhat a recycling program? There's a lot of Surface tablets, no doubt, from the many generations. And is this potentially a secondary use for them, a way to sell that stock off? I'm unclear.
It's definitely curious to see how it's going to work. It's dude, the possibilities are there, right? I'm anxious to see what happens in the future of Xbox. If they do want to tap into that handheld market, or are they just going to stay focused on the cloud streaming only?
Yeah, and I would tend to believe that is going to be the predominant use, is the cloud streaming. Unless they really want to go with some of the innovation kind of strides that Nintendo has done. I think that's the majority of the technology in the Switch, is to assist in, looking with the screen for aiming, and the Joy-Cons are the majority of it, I think. So they would be lacking anything like that. But let's just say if Sony comes out with another handheld of their own, then I think this is absolute certainty.
You would think so? If Sony does that, they come up with the Vita 2, because to me, the Vita is already dead. We talked about them getting the mobile market, which tells me that the future of the Vita won't exist at all, because they want to go into different avenues when it comes to the mobile industry. I think, they're going to build on core games with franchises like Uncharted and their big staples within PlayStation's ecosystem. But are they actually going to produce another handheld? I don't think so. They brought out the Vita and then more or less just kind of set it out to die. They didn't really support it in the end, and that's why you don't see it still going today. Or you don't see the announcements of PlayStation Vita 2. You see the announcement instead of PlayStation VR 2 instead of a Vita 2.
Yeah, and I would expect them to broadcast long before we ever saw any sort of handheld like that, because they understandably must have learned something from the first Vita.
Oh, I'm sure they've learned a lot, right? And I'd love to see what their iterations and thoughts are on a Vita 2. Maybe we can reach out to somebody and find some information, but I doubt anybody would even speak of a Vita 2 at this point. But let's move on, because Ubisoft is closing some servers for 3 Xbox 360 Tom Clancy games this year. Ubisoft has announced that servers for several of its older games will close soon, including Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, and one of my all-time favorites, Scott, Ghost Recon Future Soldier. There hasn't been an official date as to when, but if you're looking to get any of those achievements on your Xbox or finish the game in general, you might want to jump on it now. We're starting to see a lot of these companies go, okay, our backlog is extending, but our services can't remain there any longer, that they have to cancel it off.
Yeah, these games are several years on now. I actually looked, I couldn't remember exactly, so I took a little look, but Rainbow Six Vegas and Vegas 2 came out in 2006, 2008, respectively.
Right.
So it has been over a decade now, at least. They absolutely have provided that online service for so long
Yeah.
that it's hard for me, even as a fan, to really find too much to complain about.
Yep.
And they kind of have to do their own housekeeping eventually, right? All these games can't stay online forever.
No, unfortunately not, right? That's the disappointing part about it. These games are games that have this online connection, this online ecosystem. Dude, I played the crap out of Ghost Recon back in the day online. It was a competitive point where I actually had a squad we would meet up with and go out, and that's what we would do for the dude. It was incredible because it was objective focused, right? It wasn't just like a team deathmatch and that's what you focused on. Ghost Recon Future Soldier was incredible. I was on there, my brother was on there, and then we found a group of guys that we went out there, and we all had like our own kind of our role to play within the squad to do it. I've never had a game like that since, and it was
a lot of fun.
Oh, it's so incredible, and that makes those moments, right? Those memories, Scott. Nothing like it, buddy. Nothing like it at all.
I had a very similar experience with Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, the first one.
Yeah.
And I actually rose to 13th in the world at Team Deathmatch. Because of a solid team. We used to meet up basically every night, and my grade 9 class scores really suffered.
No doubt.
Basically every night, and my grade 9 class scores.
All right, let's move on to some Phil Spencer stuff. Is he teasing an Xbox and Nintendo collaboration? Inside of development, VentureBeat journalist and industry insider Jeff Grubb has apparently revealed pretty much everything we saw on Phil Spencer's shelves during a live stream in a sign of things to come. That includes the Nintendo Switch as well. Grubb made these comments during a recent GamesBeat podcast, and this was followed up by Special Ed over on Xbox Era, mentioning how the cat seems to be out of the bag about Xbox and Nintendo news. We've now been speculating this forever, though, Scott. So to see them finally bring something around, what do you expect to come out of Nintendo and the Xbox future partnership?
Oh, it's hard to, hem in my imagination because they really could go over the moon with that kind of partnership, and they could stand to gain a lot and do a lot of damage to Sony.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
Will they? There's a lot of reasons why things might not go that way. We've been looking at this kind of an announcement coming down the line for a long time based on some old information, some rumors, Game Pass coming to Nintendo, a lot of question marks there. But this could be the real sign that is happening. It just at its own rate. It's not happening very soon.
No, I'd like to see what their plans are, because we've always speculated that Game Pass could come to the Switch. Do you think that's actually going to happen?
Well, there's so many titles in Game Pass now that I could certainly see a version of Game Pass coming.
Right.
But it must not have all of the first party titles, right? That would be just totally industry shifting.
No,
if
for
we
sure.
Could, for example, load up Halo on my Switch.
Yeah, could you imagine?
Oh, I could dream about it, but anything else just seems a little too far-fetched.
Yeah, it does. I'd be curious to see what that partnership looks like, right? Are they looking at just crossover stuff? Because Nintendo does all kinds of crossover, games with Smash Brothers being like the lead, I would say, on that, right? Because we've seen so many other franchises introduced over there that it's just endless of opportunities over there. But what is Microsoft hoping to line up? Obviously, Rare now is owned by Microsoft. Used to be a Nintendo party, right? So now they've been switched over, and now could you see Sea of Thieves over on the Switch?
That would be a very interesting place for it,
wouldn't it?
That could work. I'm still holding hope. It's a bit of a meme, but Master Chief in Smash Brothers,
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe. You never quite know, right? Definitely curious
Maybe
to
it's
see what
not
they're up
too
to.
far away.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely don't know what they're up to, but it does seem to be raising a couple eyebrows of what's going on. Could we see GoldenEye reinvented over on the Switch with Xbox?
Oh,
Dude, like the opportunities here, man, oh man. Things have been
if
left
they
on
ever
the
want
table.
if they ever want to print money, that's the way to do it.
Well, right now we do have IO Interactive working on a new James Bond game, right? The same team behind the Hitman franchise, which is incredible. Hitman 3 is a fantastic game. So to see maybe another GoldenEye iteration come over, possible. Likely? Probably
I'm
not.
excited.
I just don't see it happening. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. These are big moves.
Absolutely. And making moves was, well, Days Gone 2 is still up in the air. Do we see that? What's the future look like? Because the director confirms Days Gone 2 was pitched, but yet won't verify Sony's rejection. So we have now more questions, more speculations is really kind of what's leading into this, because a lot of people, like ourselves included, were looking for the future of what Days Gone 2 or Days Gone as a whole could be, right? You saw Assassin's Creed from Assassin's Creed 1 to Assassin's Creed 2 just skyrocket and take off in a whole other direction. But Days Gone director has responded in a report claiming that plans for Days Gone 2 were rejected by Sony, but yet he still won't confirm it. So here's what's happening. Speaking during a lengthy live stream with God of War creative director David Jaffe, from former Sony Bend game director Jeff Ross confirmed that he was at one point working on Days Gone 2 pitch, but due to an NDA with his former employer, couldn't confirm if it had been canceled.
Oh.
Yeah, so here's how it kind of gets more interesting, right? According to a Bloomberg report published this week, key staff had left Bend following the unsuccessful Days Gone 2 pitch and frustration at them being assigned to work on Naughty Dog projects as a support team. Days Gone director says a planned sequel would have featured a shared universe with co-op. We already touched on that. Since then, Ross has been confirmed now he's actually working over at Mortal Kombat, working on the new Mortal Kombat. I'm not sure exactly what's going on there, but he works now at NetherRealms and said that he was at one point working on Days Gone 2 pitch, but claimed that this departure from Ben was due to personal reasons and had nothing to do with the status of the sequel. Ross confirmed several elements of Bloomberg's report, including parts of Ben being assigned to work on Naughty Dog projects, but would not outright confirm that Days Gone 2 had been canned. However, the director heavily suggested the original game might not have generated enough sales to warrant an expansive follow-up. Days Gone 2 has sold more copies than every game the studio has ever made combined. So it's successful in that way, and that the community and players' response. But the critics, yeah, that was Normandy Beach, he said. So it's curious to see. We're still talking about it. We're going to keep following up with Days Gone 2 because a lot of us want to see what the possibilities are here for another Days Gone, right? I think we'd all like to see that one scenario go from Assassin's Creed to Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if they can tweak things, learn from the first one and the critical onslaught, and maybe just dial it in a little bit. But as far as I understand, there is quite a lot of fandom around Days Gone in some capacity. And it was a really interesting universe as far as I know. And to put a co-op element into a zombie game like that, it seems like the peanut butter and jelly to me. It just seems like a great combination, but understandably they have the bottom line to look out for.
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? They said when they worked on Siphon Filter and Siphon Filter 2, they were able to turn that around in a year. And that's where they made a lot of money because they had a short time span to make the game, which didn't cost as much. Still cost about $2 million to produce Siphon Filter 2. But because it was only a year long in development, they were able to recoup all that relatively quickly versus the $4 or $5 million that they spent for Days Gone. So to get that back is a lot harder. Days Gone, Ben Studios went from a team of 45 people to over 120. So there's that to take note of as well, right? Like they had the backing, and they said they had a budget at start, but it didn't end there. They went past their budget and things like that. So it's hard to recoup all that when you're already focused on such a target, and try and get that over the length of what we make now for games. Like, developers are making games for 4 or 5 years in development before actually releasing the game. So that's a lot to kind of go into.
Yeah, there is a lot that gets put into these.
Oh.
Especially if they're going to be bigger and better than the one before, it's going to need a lot more work. And maybe it's just too out there at the moment.
Maybe it's possible, right? It could maybe just be a little bit too much. Let's move on to the next Oculus Quest update. Brings native wireless PC streaming and 120 hertz mode. Oculus is announcing the wireless PC streaming, 120 hertz refresh rate, and improvements to the Infinite Office will be coming to Oculus Quest 2 with the version 28 software update, which the company says will roll out soon. Infinite Office is the feature that Oculus includes as part of the Oculus Home, which lets users work in a virtual environment. Dude, I've never done that, but the most important thing that I was looking at was actually the feature coming to the desktop and games that allows you to stream to your PC as well. That'll be handy. Right now, you can actually tap into the Oculus Quest 2, and I can watch on the phone, on my mobile device. So to see that pitch over to the PC would be a nice feature. Right now, in order to do that, I'm actually tapped in with the Oculus Link. So it's a cable that connects. It now brings my Oculus Quest 2, which is obviously a wireless system or VR system, and I have to connect it to my PC in order to run other games. So if we can maybe work out a way to stream all that stuff, some of my Oculus games can maybe have a life on my Oculus Quest 2 in a different fashion.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see. A little bit weird taking a step back and using the cord again, but
yeah,
it works for now, and they're looking to improve it, so it's a good sign.
Here's hopeful, right? So steps forward in the world of VR. That sounds pretty cool. Here's another step forward with Alexa to download Xbox Game Pass games as well. Amazon is now allowing Xbox owners to download Xbox Game Pass games using Alexa. Did I turn anybody's Alexa on? You think I just did that? The feature doesn't require Alexa users to immediately install a skill, and it can be evoked by saying, "Alexa, download said game from the Xbox Game Pass." If you already linked Alexa to your Xbox, then Digital Assistant will find the game and install it to the linked Xbox automatically. You can also ask Alexa what's new or popular on Xbox Game Pass, and even find out what's leaving the service soon. Dude, the future is here, isn't it?
yeah, you can speak to your digital assistant about your future gaming habits.
Oh, that's exactly. Help me out here, because I can use some help. It's nuts to see what's possible now. It's pretty cool. I like that. I'm a bit of more of a Google Home guy, so maybe we'll see that hit over there as well. But right now it's on Alexa. It's starting there, and it gives you the ability to do that. I know Kyle, our good friend Kyle, will come and he'll jump on and tell his Google, I think, to start his Xbox or something along that line, which is pretty cool as well. Sony,
yeah, I like this integration.
Yeah, it's definitely a neat and interesting move, and more connected tech. Like, dude, we're always connected to this point, aren't we?
Oh yeah.
Sony invests another $200 million into the Epic Games. Oh my goodness, man. Sony has just invested another $200 million into Epic Games as part of a $1 billion funding round. Epic announced today over a dozen investors contributed toward the funding round, which valued the Fortnite developer at $28.7 billion. That's over $10 billion more than Epic Games' estimated value at the time of Sony's major investment last July. Epic Games' CEO Tim Sweeney is still the company's controlling shareholder after the investment. In a press release, Sweeney said that Epic will use the investment to help accelerate our work around building connected social experiences in Fortnite, Rocket League, and Fall Guys, while empowering game developers and creators with Unreal Engine, Epic Online Services, and Epic Games Store. Dude, the juggernaut he's not unstoppable at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, it sure seems like it. That's a lot of funding and a huge valuation. $28.7 billion.
Yeah, absolutely. They're in there for the long haul. It's you never want to see one company kind of own it all, right? You like to see the competition, but I think what Tim Sweeney has built over there at Epic right now is just phenomenal and interesting to watch. Fortnite obviously being the biggest take, but then they bought up and now have Rocket League and Fall Guys under their belt as well. So they're growing their library over there of what they own as a property. So it's fun to see them. And Fall Guys is an incredible game. So is Rocket League. Rocket League, we've seen a lot of changes as of recently. I know I was just on a podcast there with Finney McG, and he mentioned how that formula has really changed, and they've taken out the couch co-op experience of Rocket League, which is just a weird take for me.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I follow them with that direction, but
yeah, man, I played the crap out of couch co-op on Rocket League. Like, I was all over it. But I haven't been there in a long time. Let's get on to one of my favorite games. Scott, you ready? Something you've been missing out on because you need to get a PlayStation because that's the only way you can play it. It's Ghost of Tsushima, developers working on another game. They're in a spectacular multiplayer game is what they're working on, according to Sucker Punch. We'll see how it goes because this Ghost of Tsushima developer Sucker Punch is working on a new project that it describes as a spectacular multiplayer game. The news arrives in a former job advertisement on Sucker Punch's job recruitment website. Not much is given as far as detail goes, just the fact that they're looking for a multiplayer designer to create awesome game team experiences. So this kind of then leads me into please give me Ghost of Tsushima 2 co-op. That's not too much to ask for at this point, is it?
Hopefully not. The game is amazing and beautiful, and it seems like it's just begging for a co-op experience.
Absolutely. Well, we already have Legends, right? Which is a small taste. It's a great addition. We had 2-person co-op for the story campaign, and then you get a 4-person co-op experience with kind of like more like a horde mode, right? So you have objectives to kind of take care of them, kind of like this domination scenario set out, and these hordes of enemies keep coming at you, and they get tougher as the waves go on and stuff like that. It's a ton of fun, and it gave me like a little taste of what I think the future of this game could hold and look like, because dude, if they just kind of work and iterate off of this, Ghost of Tsushima 2 introduces co-op for the entire game or a whole major online component, that could change everything. The multiplayer, if you have not played Legends right now for Ghost of Tsushima, you're definitely missing out and need to play it. I've been playing with my brother. I played with GameZub, who's in our Discord. Dude, it is awesome. It is well worth it. Everybody needs to check it out. It is so cool. And Scott, you're just missing out.
I know.
Let's move on to game announcements. The Undead Hunt for Shahardar. Is that how would you say that, Scott?
Sharandar.
Sure. In Neverwinter. Sharandar Episode 2, The Soul Keeper, is now available on PC. So if you're into the Neverwinter series, then that just got a new update. Make sure you check that out. And then, of course, Warframe now is a Series X and S update is available as well, bringing on the new graphics and the call. They heed the call of the Tempestari and discover Sevagoth. Call of the Tempest steers players down an eerie path of unfulfilled prophecies and ghost disturbances in an all-new lore-based quest. So this is the newest update. They just introduced the 46th Warframe to hit the game. Dude, that game is massive at this point, 8 years strong. They're not going anywhere, and they just got the update finally over on Xbox Series X and S. It's already been patched on the PlayStation 5, so you can now find that over there. And then in the last new game do we have today? No, we have 2 more. Okay, we got Rogue Company event, the Arms Dealer event. The Arms Dealer event is here for a limited time. Complete missions, earn credits, and exchange them for a shipment with unique rewards. Players will begin by selecting an active mission from a list of 12 available. Once a player completes a task through the active mission, they will receive credits, which can be exchanged for standard shipments. And then you get bonuses and stuff for getting your shipments and stuff like that. There's 3 different types of shipments, which earn you different currency. So you'll get standard, exclusive, and special reserve. Definitely pretty cool to see what they're doing over there. And lastly, to continue its campaign, new boss, champion, ship classes, mission types, enemy gear, and more. The first major update for Everspace 2 in early access is coming on April 28th. Scott, have you played that yet?
Yes, we did dive into Everspace 2 in early access, and it was interesting, and there was a lot there, but it was kind of just it left more to be explained. I wasn't sure of all the systems involved.
Sure.
And some of the things that they had added since the first Everspace. This seems to be quite a lot of content in the form of an update. So I imagine they're going to keep dropping these kind of updates as they get closer to a full release. And maybe at that point, it'll be worth taking a look at again to just see if they've made sense of any of what I saw going on in the beginning.
For sure. Everspace 2 is here. It's definitely something that I think I would recommend checking out. It's a very cool game and a major update coming on April 28th. Scott, we're almost done for today's show. Why don't you let us know what is out for today?
Well, today we have a lot of interesting sounding titles here. There is Kingdom of Arcadia coming to the PS4, PS5, and the Switch. There's Night Squad 2 coming to the Xbox One, the Switch, and the PC. Then The Friends of Ringo Ishikawa coming to Xbox One. Cannon Brawl on the Switch. Reactor X, also on Switch. Isolamus, again on the Switch. Park Inc., that is also on the Switch. Bacon May Die, coming to PC. Bloxplode, coming to PC as well. Tasomachi, Behind the Twilight, on PC. And Forgotten Fields, also coming to PC.
Nice. And that is going to wrap up today's ITG Daily. Everybody, thank you for hanging out with us. And don't forget, you can always be a part of our show. Join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficialitg. Hit us up in Discord at ITG Daily. There you can send your questions and we will answer them while we are live. Don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at theofficialitg. And I'm Drew, that is Scott, and this is ITG Daily. And thank you again for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow inside the game.